Okay, so all the tiles installed, and the only thing left is caulk and grout, which I'm going to do right now. Okay, so because the grout joints on this tile are about a 1/16 of an inch, I am going to be using unsanded grout. The rule that usually applies to whether you use unsanded or sanded grout is actually tied to the size of the grout line. So if you've got a grout joint that's 1/8 of an inch or less, then you would use unsanded grout. If you've got a grout joint that is 1/8 of an inch or more, then you would use sanded grout. Now the 1/8 inch grout line can go either way, sanded or unsanded. Typically, I will usually use sanded grout for 1/8 of an inch grout line. I just like the way it fills the joint better. So some grouts, specialty grouts, don't come in the unsanded version, so you will have to use the sanded version for all grout joint widths. So it's not a hard and fast rule, but it's the just a rule of thumb that you will use when you try and decide whether you use grout, sanded grout or unsanded grout. Okay, so I actually have several videos on my channel that explain the whole grouting process. So I'm just going to give a bit of an overview here and not go into depth. But basically what you do is you spread your grout over a certain area. You don't want to go too far, but you also don't want to do too little. The grout, you want it to foam up a little bit in the grout joint before you actually start washing it off. And then the sponge, you're going to use clean, clear water, and the sponge is you're gonna wring out the sponge as much as possible so there's no water dripping from it, and it's actually more or less damp and not shedding any water. And then you're gonna, wash the grout, the tile, smooth out the grout lines, and then move on and grout some more and repeat. So as far as all the corners or changes of plane, except for the niche, I usually just grout the niche, everything in the niche, but on the walls and where a tile changes plane, like from the ceiling to the wall or from one wall to another wall, those joints are going to receive caulk, because you need a flexible joint there that's not going to crack with the movement of the house. So it might appear that when I'm grouting that I'm filling those joints, but I'm actually not. I am just trying to get as close to the corner as possible to fill all the joints on the surface of the tile. So if you'd like to comment on any of my videos, please go ahead. I try and respond to all the comments, but sometimes it's not possible, and other times the option to reply is not present on your comment. So even though if I want to reply, it's not possible because there's no option to do so. So you might want to check your settings on whatever YouTube or Google Plus or whatever it is that you're applying, and make sure that that option is available to me. Okay, so when you're grouting, you're going to go over the same grout line multiple times in different directions, and that's how you ensure that the grout lines get completely filled. And even though you do this and you go over it multiple times, there's always, when you're washing it, when you're cleaning it, you'll always find a spot that you miss. So you just want to make sure that you check everything after you're done to make sure that you haven't left any holes in the grout. Sometimes that happens because there might be like a little air pocket in the grout, or whatever reason. And so you just always want to check after you're done to make sure that you filled all the grout lines. So while you're washing the walls down, you want to make sure that you smooth out the grout lines. They're all even, and they look good. As I said, with the smaller grout lines, with the unsanded grout, it's not too difficult to do. But as the grout gets wider, with the unsanded grout, it's more difficult to get a nice, even, clean line. So that's why I always switch to sanded grout when the grout lines get to be about 1/8 of an inch, which technically you could still use the unsanded. Also, another thing to keep in mind is sometimes delicate tiles like polished marble or glass tiles sometimes will require the use of an unsanded grout because the tile can be damaged, the surface of the tile can be damaged by the sand. So if you're in one of those situations that you're using a delicate tile or you're not sure what grout to use, check with the manufacturer and make sure that if you're going to use sanded grout, that it is actually recommended, because some tiles require the use of unsanded grout so not to damage the tile. It's not often that's the case, but it can. Okay, so once you've filled the joints with the grout and you've washed it down the first time, you're going to let it haze over, and well, as it dries it's going to haze over, and you're going to get a film, a white hazy film on the tile. So what I do is I get a bucket of clean, cool water, and I give it one more rinse. But this time when I'm rinsing, I don't move the sponge back and forward. I just use one side of the sponge, pull in one direction, then flip it over to another side of the sponge and do the same. That way you get the towel pretty much clean, and anything that's left over can be buffed off with a rag. If you move the sponge back and forth, what you do is the forward swipe, you remove the grout, and then when you go back again, you're putting it back on. Okay, so once you've got everything grouted and cleaned, it's time to caulk all the corners. And this is not a step you want to miss, because if the corners are filled with grout, they will crack. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. It might be a week, it might be a month, it might be a year, but it will crack. So you want to make sure that you caulk all the corners and have a flexible joint there. Caulk is a maintenance item, so at some point it will have to be replaced and done over, but that could be quite some time before that happens. Okay, so the last thing I do is grout the floors. First the shower floor, and then the bathroom floor. And even though these grout lines are about 1/8 of an inch, as I stated earlier, I'm going to use sanded grout. It just fills the joint better, in my opinion. And same process, smear your grout, fill the joints really good, and then wash it off. So this is the finished product. All the tile installed, grouted, and caulked. And I actually have at the very end here, because I'm back in this house to do another bathroom. You're going to see it completely finished with all the fixtures in. Okay, so this is about 8 months later. I'm back in this house installing, doing another bathroom. So I'm just taking a quick video of this shower that's been in use for about 8 months. 7, 8 months.